Your passport is your most valuable possession, so just make sure you protect that with your life. The lead up to the trip is probably the most anxious part, and you kind of overplay things in your mind. Hello, and welcome back to the third episode of Destination Happiness with me, Sophie. I'm actually recording from a little place called Dysart today. I'm in the Outback Australia in central Queensland, and it's far, far away from where I'm normally in the Botanical Gardens in Brisbane. I'm doing my 88 days here at the moment, so this is my regional work for my working holiday visa in order for me to be able to apply for the second year. In today's episode, I'm going to be giving tips for someone about to travel Southeast Asia. The most common question I probably get is from people who are about to go on their trip and just want some advice on where to go, what to take, what not to take, etc. So I thought I'd just summarise everything I normally say to those people in one short, sweet episode. The first thing I'd say is what to pack. So there is the typical argument of backpack versus suitcase. I've tried travelling with both, and I think a backpack is a lot easier, especially if you're going to be in Southeast Asia where it's hot and you don't need a lot of things anyway. Granted, you can take a lot more things in a suitcase. However, when you're in such a climate, you don't really need things like a hairdryer or jeans or jumper, etc. So a backpack is definitely okay to be taking to Southeast Asia. You don't really need jeans, unless you're one of those people like me that gets super cold easy, but even so, you're going to be in a humid climate. You're going to want to wear thin clothes, if anything. You probably should take a pair of long trousers for those colder evenings and probably a jumper too, but no more than one or two pairs, maybe just for those cooler evenings, or say if you're on a long bus journey overnight and there's the aircon. Or actually, there are some cooler places in Southeast Asia, like Dalat in Vietnam. It's in the mountains. So yeah, just places like that, you might want to take some longer trousers, but you definitely don't need jeans. Hairdryer is not essential either. It's going to be so hot there. By the time you get out the shower, your hair's going to start drying anyway, and a hairdryer is not going to do much use. It's just going to be bulky, it's going to get in the way, and you probably won't need it. Even if you do need a hairdryer, then there's probably someone that you can borrow, or the hostel you're staying, there might be a hairdryer that they have that you can use. But again, it's just going to take up space in your bag that you don't need, and then you're going to just have to lug it round. So I wouldn't recommend taking a hairdryer. Heels. You don't need heels, unless you really, really, really want to go to, Sevilla in Bali and dress up nicely, then no one really wears heels. You can just wear trainers on a night out. That's what I do, and also it's a lot more comfortable as well. And plus, trainers are a lot more versatile, so you'll be able to double up on that. But yeah, heels, maybe you'll wear them like once or twice, but they're really not essential. If you do feel the need to bring heels, which I don't recommend, but I'll say this anyway, just take a pair of clear Perspex ones, and that way you can wear them with any outfit. I would just say, when you're packing, try to pack as lightly as possible. If you're contemplating over a piece of clothing, probably best not to take it if you're thinking about it that much. The reason being is because you can always buy stuff while you're out here, and you don't want to be lugging things around, especially if you're not going to be using them. You may even end up just leaving it somewhere or giving it away, but would you really want to be doing that if it's one of your favourite pieces of clothing? You'll probably just take it with you, and then it's just going to get in the way. But on the other hand, if you don't have it and you do need it, you can just buy some new ones. Okay, the next thing is where to stay. I would 100% recommend staying in hostels for a number of reasons. First reason is because it is the central hub of making friends. It's where I've met most of my friends since travelling. There's so many people that go through hostels, short-term, long-term, people from all corners of the world, and they all meet in hostels. everyone's super friendly there, people are open to making friends, and yeah, you just meet so many people by staying in those places. Also, hostels are normally in the ideal location. So, I don't know, say you're in a city, for example, then the hostel's probably got good transportation links. It's probably nearby train stations or shops. So, 9 times out of 10, you probably won't need to worry, is this place actually good? But yeah, I mean, obviously do your research anyway. Hostels are also cheap as well, sometimes even as cheap as £2, £3 a night is probably the cheapest I've seen, and that was including breakfast too. So yeah, you'll save a ton of money, you'll meet people, and you'll be in a perfect location. For me, when I was staying in a hostel in Brisbane, no matter what time it was or day, I'd always go in and I'd see someone I know. So yeah, it's just nice being able to have that many friends around you and just having a good social life in hostel life. Yeah, I would 100% recommend hostel life. It's fun. Okay, so third one is where to go. In terms of starting points, I recommend either Bali or Thailand. They're good countries to start in, just because a lot of other people start in those countries. So it would be easier to make friends and then go traveling with them. Or actually, people do exit from those countries too, and then you can get advice from people of places that they've been to, especially if they've recently been there in the past few days or few weeks. Also, if you're traveling from the UK, there are direct flights from the UK to Thailand, so you don't need to do the layover in Dubai or wherever your layover may be, because Thailand is a direct flight from the UK. If you're making friends in these places too, then you may want to go off and travel with them. You may want to stick together and explore other places and new countries with them, etc., or meet back up with them in a few weeks' time after you've gone your separate ways, and then head back onto the same places. Also, as well, if you're finishing a country and you're deciding where to go next, I would say there's probably two ways. Well, there's more than two ways, I'm sure, but there's two ways for me of going about it. I would either whoever I'm traveling with at the moment, maybe see where they're going, and if I wanted to go with them or if they wanted to come with me, then we can decide together. Or B, look on Skyscanner or Agoda or wherever you book your flights on, and double check to see where the cheapest flight out is. When I was in Bali and my time there was coming to an end, I thought, okay, so where am I going to go next? I went on Skyscanner and I saw the cheapest flight was, I think, £70, including baggage, for a flight from Denpasar in Bali to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to Vietnam next. So it literally was as simple as that. That's how I decided where I was going next. Okay, next is how to make friends. I'd say the obvious answer is to be open, put yourself out there, talk to people, and again, I always say it, to stay in hostels too. I met some of my closest friends while brushing my teeth in Munich, so yeah, I mean, it's a given, stay in hostels. Another good way to make friends is to go on tours. I don't normally like going on tours just because I much prefer hiring a bike or a car or whatever and going in to explore somewhere by myself. However, there are certain places where you do want to go on a tour, such as the Cu Chi tunnels in Vietnam, or somewhere that's a bit further out where you'd need to drive for a few hours. So in those circumstances, I would get a tour, especially if it's like an informational tour too, like the Cu Chi tunnels. If I didn't have a tour guide, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm looking at. So yeah, made some friends on tours. Again, it's a good way to meet people, and I would recommend. A lot of people worry about how much money to take with them. I'll be realistic, I spent around £1,200 a month while I was in Asia, and that was including food, accommodation, things to do, having fun, partying, transportation, everything. That wasn't really me limiting myself too much on doing things. I was doing fun things every day, so yeah. that's a good comfortable amount. You can spend less than that if you wanted to. You can definitely budget and spend less than that. Or on the other hand, you definitely could spend more than that. I think the easiest way to spend more than that is you're a big drinker, you're a big party goer. Although, yeah, Southeast Asia is cheap, it can be expensive and it can add up quickly when you're drinking a lot of alcohol and partying a lot and going out. So just be mindful of that as well. Another thing that crops up a lot, especially if you're solo traveling, and I get it as well, even after a year of solo traveling, is the anxiety you get, especially if you don't have an end date to your travels. I booked a one-way ticket to Bali last year, and all I had was 2 nights accommodation booked. It's completely normal, I get it as well. But the advice I'd give is to just embrace it and channel that into excitement. Like, you could either think, oh, I'm going to the other side of the world by myself, like, that's scary. Or you think, oh my god, I'm going to the other side of the world by myself, like, that's so exciting. Do you know? It really depends on how you view it. And if you can try and view that as a positive thing rather than a negative thing to be anxious about, then you'll definitely see a shift. I think for me, and a lot of other people I've spoken to as well, the lead up to the trip is probably the most anxious part. And you kind of overplay things in your mind just thinking about it, like the weeks leading up to it. But then as soon as you go to the airport, as soon as you say goodbye to your friends and family, and you are by yourself, the anxiety kind of melts away. And then you realise that you weren't really anxious about anything in particular. It was just the whole going away that was scary. But actually, if you break it down, there's not really anything to be scared of. I don't know if that's just me, but there's not actually one singular thing that you're anxious about. It's just the thought of going away as a whole. People also get worried about their safety when travelling, which obviously I completely understand. And there are things that you can do just to ease your mind and make sure you stay safe. Stay safe while travelling out there. Number one is while you're out and about to keep your bag zipped close to you. You can also use a bum bag, which can go under your clothes or like tuck under your top, whatever. Just so that that's closer to your body. Make sure it's zipped, make sure you've got it in your sight and nobody's able to access it. If you've got your phone out and you're using Google Maps, make sure you just hold it tight in your hand. Actually, I wouldn't even recommend doing that at all. What I would recommend if you are using your map on your phone is to plug it into some headphones, maybe just one so that your other ear is free, and put the volume on so that the map gives you directions verbally. That way, if you need to go left in 50 meters or whatever it is, then you don't actually have your phone in your hand looking. You're able to keep your senses open and your map will just tell you when you need to go, and that way you can put your phone in your bag, safe, out of sight, and no one's able to take it so easily. Your passport is your most valuable possession, so just make sure you protect that with your life. In the hostel, they have lockers usually where you can store your bag away, so just make sure you take a padlock with you and you can lock up your stuff. Although most likely after you've been travelling with the same group of people for a while, you'll realise that nobody wants to steal your trainers, nobody wants to steal your pants and socks, and you'll probably start to feel a bit more at ease in terms of your safety. Although just bear in mind that not everyone in the world has as big a heart as you and I. Always keep your passport in a safe place where you know where it is, and you'll be okay. One thing I would recommend if you're traveling with expensive stuff, my laptop, for example, and my phone, I have gadget insurance from a company called Love It Cover It. They insure my Mac and my phone from theft, loss, or damage anywhere in the world. So I just have that peace of mind knowing that no matter what happens, no matter where I am, I'm always covered. And I think that's only about £150 a year. So really, really worth it. and that's for my phone and my laptop too. I think that just about summarises all the rough advice that I'd give to someone travelling Southeast Asia. I hope I've covered everything, but if I've missed something off, please do let me know. My DMs are always open for questions if you want some advice, or just have a chat about where you're going, or to tell me about any exciting things you've done on your travels around Southeast Asia and the rest of the world. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you found it valuable, and if you have, please share it with your friends and leave me a good review on whatever platform you're listening to. It really does help boost it so that more people can listen in and we can share more advice with other travellers. I will see you on the next episode.